I'm Eric Gall, family member and family coach, and I've been talking about life planning and creating a life plan these last couple of weeks. And I've got lots of awesome emails and comments on it. And one of the most common questions is, Eric, well, how do we create a life plan with our loved one? So if you're like, Eric, what's a life plan? Go and check out the video that I did the videos that I did the last couple weeks. I go deeper into what a life plan is, but it's basically thinking about, 5 years from now, what would an awesome ordinary life look like for your loved one in terms of their independence, their relationships, how they're contributing, whether that's paid employment or contributing in the community. What is an individualized home potentially look like, and who might they be living with? And what does the right amount of supports look like? So, it's writing all that down and creating this awesome individualized life plan. So I guess I give you an overview, but how do you start to create it, right? So you've recognized that, yes, I need a plan, right? So it's like, okay, I could pick up a pen and paper and start writing it down right now, right? But you're like, I don't know, it's hard to do alone, and you get stuck. And how do I know that it's good enough, right? Because we want to make sure that it's an awesome ordinary plan. We want to make sure that we're doing our loved one right, and that we are creating a plan that's awesome, right, with our loved one. So, you could start by just writing it down. That's a good step, right? But this is where a lot of families get stuck, and I don't want you to get stuck there. Okay, so this is why I've created a planning model, right? And I've created it based on what I've learned that works with the over 500 families that I've worked with to build life plans and to help families implement their life plans. I'm going to go into this in depth in the upcoming life plan workshop. So you can go ahead and scroll down, click below, and get your free seat in that workshop, and it's filling up. So I recommend that you do that now to make sure you get your seat. But I'm going to go into more depth on this life planning module. Okay. So, but I just want to talk about it for a few minutes here with you. So often we want to jump right into the life plan. And the life plan is actually we don't start with life planning. We don't start with drafting up the plan, okay? Because there's some learning that we need to do. And the first learning that I start with families is really around emotional readiness. In other words, the inner work. So it really is working with us as caregivers, as family members, and thinking about, well, what is the emotional work, the inner work that I need to do to get maybe some fears, some barriers out of the way so that we can actually create this awesome ordinary life plan, right? So, and we all have those fears, but we can safeguard against those fears and those vulnerabilities that our loved one does have, and they might have greater vulnerabilities, but we can safeguard for those, right? And we can put things in place to help keep our loved ones safe, which helps us with the emotional readiness and move past those fears. So we need to do that, because if we don't, that life plan we create is just going to collect dust, right? We're not going to be able to make any progress on it because we're going to keep getting in our own way. We're going to keep getting our loved ones' way. The next piece is to learn really some possibilities, some ordinary possibilities, to think about, well, what is actually possible? To get outside of the special needs thinking, to get into the realm of, well, what would if our loved one's 25, what would a 25-year-old in our community be doing? And to use that frame of thinking and to hear stories of people with developmental disabilities that are doing awesome ordinary things, right? And that's inspiring and helps open our mind to what's actually possible for our loved one and broaden our perspective. Then another key piece is learning some best practices. Well, how do we get there? One of the things I'll talk about in the life plan workshop is a support circle. If you're not sure what that is, join the workshop and I'll tell you more about it. But learning about, well, how do we intentionally think about relationships and build a support circle for our loved one? How do we do that? Well, there's best practices. There's strategies you can learn to go and do that, right? To then have that in your life plan, but then to implement it. Right? So there's emotional readiness, there's ordinary possibilities to learn about what's possible, there's best practices, and we need to be doing all of that while building the life plan, right? Because now our life plan is going to get traction, right? We're going to stop spinning our wheels and we're going to actually make some forward progress and momentum. So that's my life planning model. So I hope that's helpful. I gave you a really high overview. I'm going to go into more depth on this life planning model in the life plan workshop that's upcoming super soon. It's a free 2-part workshop. It's going to help you start to build that awesome ordinary life plan with your loved one. The other cool thing that I found really helpful around building life plans is doing it in a supportive community and to be guided. Right? So this life plan workshop, you're going to get to experience that. You're going to feel this supportive community of other families that we've got. It's going to be amazing. So scroll down and register for the life plan workshop, and I'll see you there. Together, let's keep taking those small steps forward.